It'll just take you a few seconds to get over here. Hi, I'm sitting here waiting for Reverend Mel. I'm Snow Mercy, so maybe I'll just take over the show today, or maybe she's stuck in traffic. Who knows? But I'm excited to be here. Reverend Mel! Let me give you a hug.
Hello, welcome, beautiful.
Hi, good to see you.
Welcome to the Rev Mel Show on TSRnetwork.com, where real people talk about real sex with really kinky people. And I am so excited about my guest. Let me see, do I have any announcements to make? No, I have no announcements. I want to get to my guest. We're going to talk. We're going to have a great time. And let me check the chat room before we start.
Oh, yes. Chat room.
The chat room. Love my chat room. Love my chat people.
So this means that there's going to be people watching live right now, and they can like ask me provocative questions or ask me what my favorite color is, or
they will ask you all sorts of questions.
Yeah, today, I take yoga. I did a lot of yoga, and the yoga instructor announced her name. She's like, my name is Kelly, and my favorite color is sea foam green. And then she had everybody introduce themselves to their neighbor and do the same thing, which I thought was a nice icebreaker. So
how do we do this?
So I'm going to ask you, well, my name is Snow. My favorite color is red. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is black.
Black.
Does that tell you something about me?
Right. No, black is classic. You know, never goes out of style. So I respect that.
Do you wear color? Do you wear a lot of color?
I do not wear a lot of color. I wear mostly black, and it's partly laziness because it's so easy to find just one color. to find something to match if you wear one color, and also I only have to do one load of laundry. So.
But it's really hard. I'm getting back to the chat room.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got lots of people. We've got Darren's in the chat room, Heather's in the chat room, and Art. You got to go Art Miller like this. Art Miller.
Art Miller.
Art Miller.
Art Miller.
Art Miller.
Ooh.
So they're in the chat room. So good to see people starting to come in the chat room. They were in early. You know, sometimes people wait, and I can't tell how many people are on the show while we're doing this because, as we know, I don't have a board guy yet. But I like the fact that my guest opens up the show and closes the show. It makes them feel part of it.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do some. I'm gonna ask you some of the real personal questions. You know, the kinky ones, the ones that I ask. You know, only female.
Okay.
Yeah. So, how old were you when you lost your virginity?
Oh well. That is personal. But it's virginity. I lost my virginity when I was 16. So I was in high school. So I don't know if that's kind of for kinky people, like what do people usually tell you about?
16, 14,
12?
13.
I mean,
I've heard some bizarre stories, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope no one's watching this. This could be pretty bad. Yeah, I've heard some bizarre stories. So where did you grow up?
You know, I'm mostly from Southern California. My parents are divorced, and when they were going through their divorce, I did bounce back and forth between them, so I did spend some time in Utah at a boarding school, and a Mormon boarding school. I was raised Mormon, and then I also spent some time in Texas, in Dallas-Fort Worth area. But I would have to say I'm mostly from Southern California, but I do have I did go to school in a few other, and also I spent some time in Iowa, Sioux City, Iowa, which is the most dull. No, I shouldn't say that. What if somebody from Sioux City is watching? It wasn't for me. So Sioux City, I don't know if you know anything about Sioux City.
No,
yeah, it's just like a farm
gathered
town.
it was kind of boring.
And it's cold. And the last time I visited there, they only had, I think, 2 restaurants to choose from. Their Pizza Hut had gone out of business. It was just it's a very depressed economy out there.
Wow.
So it's very different from Los Angeles.
How long ago did you live out there?
That was a long time ago. That's when I was a kid. I was like in elementary school. But I've been back in Los Angeles since I was 18 years old. So, and a lady doesn't reveal her age, but I've been here long enough. So I consider myself a Southern California girl.
So how did you, you're Mormon. It's really interesting because I have a very close friend who's Mormon who's gotten back into her Mormon religion. And she's into BDSM. And I said to her, so how does that affect your BDSM? And she kind of said to me, well, it doesn't. I says, what do you mean it doesn't? She says, BDSM and more, I don't mix the two together.
I've never, I would actually be very interested in meeting your friend because I'm no longer Mormon. I had to write a letter to Salt Lake City and get not excommunicated, but just taken off the list,
A leave of absence,
or registry or whatever it was. I mean, excommunication is a whole other thing, but I'd be really curious to see how those two work because I know Mormons, are so repressed sexually that they're very, it's monogamy or polygamy back in the good old days, but I would be really interested to see how she makes those two work together. So I guess if you are Mormon, I mean, a spanking's not bad, I guess, but it's really curious. But I don't know if there's like Mormon BDSM munches or.
I don't know. Speaking of Spanky has just come into the chat room. Hello.
Hi, Spanky.
Hello, Spanky. Yeah, he's wonderful.
Oh, nice.
So, how did you get involved in BDSM?
I think BDSM. I coined these two terms called BDSM native and BDSM immigrant. So BDSM native is somebody who just feels like you were born this way, and I feel like I was born this way, and I had. Even before I even knew what sex was, I just knew there was like something, there was some kind of energy there, and I had fantasies about being spanked, and I had fantasies about being tied up, the whole damsel in distress, and I had all these, I had fantasies. This was back when a lot of those alien movies were coming out, like E.T. or Close Encounters, and I had like alien abduction fantasies, and now I've been thinking more about it, and I'm thinking about how it was actually kind of like this medical alien thing. So the aliens abduct me, and then they strap me down to a table, and they do experiments with like bright lights.
But they're fun experiences. They're not painful experiences.
It wasn't painful, no, but it was definitely there was some kind of like, I'm naked, I'm tied down, I don't know what's going on. There's like all these bright lights, and I didn't know, and it was definitely something sexual, but I didn't know it was sexual because I didn't know what that energy was. When you're a kid, you didn't know. I didn't know how to explain it. So I would say I was born this way and had these fantasies, but I never really talked about them because I was raised Mormon, and sex is, sinful outside of marriage, and, talk about these things. So I didn't really express it until my teenage years. And after I lost my virginity, and when you're Mormon, you're supposed to save yourself for marriage, and I wasn't married, and I just was like, okay, well, it's all downhill from now. I'm going to hell, I might as well just have some fun and experiment. So I experimented a little bit, but it was with somebody who had no idea what he was doing, and it was just not good because we tried tying me up to a bed, and we used like some scratchy rope from the bed of his truck, and it was just no fun.
So how did you find the lifestyle? How long did it take you to get involved in? I don't like to call it lifestyle. I like to call it life choice because we kind of make a choice. As we get older and we start to figure this out, we make a choice whether to get into it or not to get into it. And so when were you really started to be exposed to the concept of a BDSM community of like-minded people?
So the way I got exposed to the BDSM lifestyle, I was dating somebody at the time who was not kinky, but he had dated somebody who was working at that time at the Chateau, which is this dungeon. It's no longer around. You've heard of it, I'm sure. Yeah. There's a dungeon called the Chateau, and it was in North Hollywood here in California. And his ex-girlfriend was working there. And I was really curious, and they would make jokes about it, and like really derogatory jokes. So I wanted to look it up. So I started looking up the Chateau on their website. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And it was really interesting to me. And I was like, I never knew this existed. And I would just look at the website and was very curious. And then I also, LA Weekly had ads for the Dominion. And I was like, what is this? It looks like just that from the pictures of the women, it just looked like something I'd be interested in. So I started looking at their website. And then I started going, and this was my early 20s. And then I started going to this club called Miss Kitty's in Bar Sinister. And that's where I started meeting other people who were into it. And I dated somebody else who was also into it around that same time. So I guess my first, to answer your question, was because I heard somebody talk about the Chateau, and I just was curious. But I didn't really seriously get into BDSM until my mid-20s when I was dating somebody, and we started going to Bar Sinister, Miss Kitty's, and then I was like, oh my God, there's other people into this.
Did you start out as a submissive or a dominant?
I was definitely a submissive. Yeah, I did not have a dominant bone in my body. Like, I I remember when I first started working at the Dominion, I was like, I can never be a dominatrix. Like, I can't boss people around. And so, but I think that's very common. Like, women start as submissives and it's kind of change into being a dom.
Yeah, I started out as a submissive, and we
Yeah.
had a very wise dominant. I mean, I had two dominant men that I dated, and the second one, both of them we never played. They never seemed with me. None of that stuff. They seemed with other people, but they never seemed with me. It was really strange. And the second one, I finally, because we ended up friends, and I had friends with both of them, I said, how come you never seen with me? They go, well, you're not submissive. And then, I tell the whole thing in my class about, them saying I was a princess, but there's no princess in BDSM, but there is. A lot of princesses in BDSM. But I think that, and he said that I should try my hand at being dominant, and I didn't think I could do it either. I mean, but you've really developed a tremendous amount of respect in the community.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you're very well known in the BDSM community.
That makes me feel really good.
And I gotta tell you something. I went to her class if she ever teaches at Stockholm again, go to her class. She's very thorough. She's got is it the right word, analytical mind?
Definitely very analytical.
Yeah,
I have a very scientific mind from my background.
And your background is in what?
I got a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I can't even add 4 and 4 together,
you can. So yeah, so pretty much I spent, going, if you want to go back to my story about, discovering BDSM and discovering the life choice. So at that same time, I was in graduate school for this degree. And, I started going to these clubs, and I was very drawn to it, and I was very drawn to the women. And I remember talking to one of the mistresses who was running the upstairs Bar Sinister and asking her about this. And she's like, honey, why don't you just come to the Dominion and start working? And I'm like, I can do that. And so, and it took me a year before I worked at the Courage, and then I applied, I got the job. And so I was literally, this graduate student in science by day, and at night I was working as a submissive. And I was juggling both. And I thought I would only do it for a few months just to pay off some bills because I was going through a divorce. I was going through a divorce at the time. And I just took to it. I just felt like I don't know, I never felt like I belonged until I found the kinky people.
Oh, it's because you're from aliens.
Yeah.
We never, us aliens never belong, We never belong. And BDSM, it's home.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go to a dungeon. I don't know if you feel this way too. Sit quietly and listen to the sounds, and it can literally put me to sleep.
Aww.
And I'm so relaxed around that environment. But it's like home. It's an amazing place to be at. And one of the reasons why we do this show is because a lot of people are outside of the Los Angeles community who really can't get to a dungeon, who can't even get to a munch. So this is we provide a lot of information for them. But so you felt like you were a duck and you finally found your water.
Yeah, I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody. I felt weird. I would try to talk to my girlfriends about things, like even just talking about, wanting to maybe have sex with multiple people. Like that was just too much for most girls. Like you're like, oh, you have a boyfriend. Why would you want to have a third person? Like that was just too much.
Are you bisexual?
Yeah. I don't know how to describe it. I play with men and women. I have dated men and women. I actually dated trans people too. So I don't know.
She's a try anything.
I'll try anything. Yeah. So I've actually been struggling with what do I call myself? Like, am I heteroflexible? But then it sounds like heteroflexible might be kind of derogatory because that means you're flexible. Like I'd rather be. I'm like, what am I? And I'm like, am I queer? But
I think it's energy. I think if you're drawn to, I don't think you're drawn to the gender. You're drawn to the, and you'll understand because of your background. It's chemistry.
Yeah.
There's a certain chemistry that happens with somebody, and a certain energy. It doesn't matter if it's male or female. When that chemistry happens, there's a draw between two people, and it doesn't represent anything that has to do with gender whatsoever. I mean, people ask me. I used to think I was bisexual, and now I'm about the same too. I'm drawn to a person.
I'm definitely drawn to a person. And I have mostly paired up with men, and I've been married before. And the men, though, I tend to be with are effeminate. I that's the trend. Like, there's a lot of female energy with the men, and I feel like I have a lot of male energy, I've been told. so I don't know, but I like women too. So I'm just like all over the place.
Oh, they want to
Yeah.
know when is your next class. And
Oh.
does Snow need a demo bottom?
Well, I can always, send an application, or you just send me an email. You can send me an email at snow@snowmercy.com, and I'll consider you. I don't have my next class, I have some classes that are, I have at least one class I'm going to do at DomCon, which is in May. But I haven't scheduled anything else lately, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to have any. So if you just follow me on my Twitter or Facebook is the Snow Mercy, Twitter is Snow Mercy. You can see what classes I'll do. I love teaching. Like, that's my passion. I love teaching.
She's fabulous at it. It was really, I have friends, Caddy and David. We're like family. We've known each other for such a long time. I married them. And I basically was their minister to marry them. And but they kidnap me every Saturday and take me to the stockroom. So, and I also go there to support, Hutsy. And she's also involved with Hutsy in many other ways. You have, it's called the
Fet Pack.
The Fet Pack.
Yeah, we had, it's been a little bit, it's been on the back burner right now, but we've had the Fet Pack with Hutsy Han and Nikki Rouge. And we just it was just very natural. It was just something, just organic, if you want to use that term. We just we're hanging out all the time and having fun and getting to adventures, and just it just seemed like people loved us. And we had, we did a lot of photo shoots.
One blonde, one.
I'm the brunette.
She's a brunette, but Hutsy's multicolored.
Yeah.
You never know if she's blonde, red, or whatever. So she's always got different hair colors.
And Nikki was red.
Yeah,
So
red.
actually, we actually would encourage Hutsy, you have to stay blonde, so we have a beach. And then there's all body types. I'm the really tall one, and then Nikki is smaller, more gymnast body, and Hutsy's very voluptuous. And so it just really worked, and people really loved it. Nikki's moved, and I think we've all been really busy with our own things, our own projects, and Hutsy's got her own stuff going on. So, I would love to bring it back to life. I even went so far as to trademark the name because I was so excited. Yeah. So I didn't want anyone to copy it. So, but we had Fet Pack. And,
it might be an interesting idea to give a website for it, right?
Yeah.
To have each of you guys have the ability to have a blog on it, and then each of you guys do what your life is, and then when you guys get together, when Nikki comes back here and you guys all get together, then you do, take photographs all together, and then you do them individually, so everyone can keep track of what's happening with the Fet Pack.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So if, for you each can develop your own style, but yet you're still part of that group. You're still part of that pack.
Right.
And still keep that connection.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I would love to revive it. It just seems like everybody's off doing their own thing. It's like a band. You have a band. Your band members go off and do their own thing. Any good? What are your questions? What do you want to ask me?
They're talking in the chat room. Art Miller says drawn to the connection. We were talking earlier about why you're drawn to people.
Oh, yeah.
And then Art Miller said, can you talk about your connection with fitness, yoga, meditation? Love the show with Sunny.
Sunny Megatron.
Yeah. What have you learned about motivation and mindfulness in regards to BDSM?
Oh,
Lots of
that's
questions
interesting. There. I wonder if that person has been keeping up with me, because I went on a 10-day meditation retreat. It was a silent meditation retreat. I did that at the end of January, and that was really amazing. And I also did this TV show called Sex with Sunny Megatron, and it stars at Sunny Megatron, and her husband Ken is one of the producers. And I did this fetish fitness demo for the show, and I didn't expect it to take hold. And before I knew it, I had Huffington Post did an interview.
I saw that.
So Huffington Post, People Magazine did an interview. I did an interview for New York Daily News, and then I had 3 German websites, web magazines do interviews.
That is fabulous.
And I'm really? So I thought that was so amazing. And so now I'm doing my, and I love it. I generally work out with people who are kinky. And it started off, one of the catalysts was I used to work out with a group, with a personal trainer. We used to all split the cost to help make it affordable. And I would try to talk about my life, and the girls were just kind of
oh my god, I don't think so.
They were nice, but I can tell, because you're working out with people 3 times a week, and you get to know them, and you start talking about your life, and you know, like I can't censor everything. And so I realized like this just isn't the greatest way to do this. So I started working out with people who are kinky. And I had a slave at the time. And I'm not going to mention his name. Oh, right, yeah, I guess I can. Boy Kyle. And he and I used to go jogging. And he wanted to get in shape. And he was young. And we threw in little kinky things to make it more fun. Like he'd have like a butt plug up his ass when we go jogging.
I love it.
You know, or like he'd have his balls tied up with rope, or just, you know, just something to like kind of just make it kind of, or he'd be wearing like a little leather G-string underneath.
And just nylons under nylons.
I don't know if he ever wore nylons. I guess I don't know, but he but we'd have a collar on sometimes to go to Runyon Canyon, which is this park around here in West Hollywood, which is very, you know, gay friendly. So we didn't think anything of it. And I just kind of like, it just started going, and I started like Hudzy Han and I used to work out a lot. And so we'd go hikes and we'd go to, you know, yoga. And so it just kind of came from that and just working out with people, going on hikes. And so now I'm doing this yoga. And so they're asking me, the question was about how does this tie into BDSM? It was just the camaraderie. Like we don't, you might be kinky, but it doesn't necessarily mean you always have to be at a dungeon to hang out with people who are kinky. You can be kinky and go on a hike or go, you know, go to yoga together. And
if you have a kinky teacher who wants to put you through pain, they may put you through some really big stretches.
I swear, no. Okay, so I did this thing called Bikram yoga, and they joked that the guy who developed this Bikram is his name. He's a sadist. Like I honestly think he's a dom, and he's like I don't know if he like knows like that he's a dom, but he's very dominant, and like he calls it his torture chamber when you go in to work out. So it's just natural to like, you know, if you're into fitness and you are submissive, you know, follow around some dominant woman while working out. And as far as they asked about mindfulness, you know, I learned a lot about being a professional submissive. I was a very heavy sub. I used to get beat, and there's videos if you look them up. You can see videos of me just being, you know, really beat. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. The mindfulness ties in, and that you just like, you know that it's not going to last forever. Like if you're into a really heavy scene, I think one thing that people really like about playing heavy is it forces you to be present.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be really focused and present, and you have to be aware of your breath, how you breathe, how you're feeling. It really just puts you back into your head, so you're not thinking about your to-do list and thinking about, you know, what you're hungry for.
Did you go into subspace? Did it help you get into your subspace? Does mindfulness help you get into your subspace?
Yeah, because you're just focused on what's happening at that moment.
So give the definition to some of the people that may not know what mindfulness is. What is your interpretation of mindfulness?
So mindfulness is just it's a practice where you focus on what's happening at the present moment. So whatever sensations you're feeling, that's what mindfulness, and you're experiencing that, you're analyzing that. You're not dwelling on something that happened earlier, or you're not worried about something that's happening later. You're just thinking about your breath, your sensations.
So you're staying in that complete moment.
Yeah.
It was like I heard some noise out there, and she saw me go. I was not in the. I went into my present moment of, you know, shh, be quiet out there. So.
It's your fans, I think.
It is. It's fans. They're trying to get down the door. They're going like,
"Are we safe in here?"
Yeah, we've got to. Oh, we've got to. It was amazing. I met Art Miller at the last stockroom class, which was with Nikki Nefarious and
I missed it. I'm in yoga school. So I'm in yoga school all day.
It was awesome, and Sin, who has a show, or Mistress Cassie, who has a show here on TSR Network, they really worked well together. It was an awesome class. I really enjoyed them. But he came up and he said, you know, you're Rev Mel, and he started talking to me, and then he had this little shy smile on his face, and he goes, I've been watching your show. I says, have you been coming in the chat room? He goes, yeah, a lot. And I looked at him and I go, Art Miller. So I caught him.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But he says he's been following you on social media. Little T, hello, Little T. She goes, kiss, kiss, kiss. Hello. Little T has been watching the show for the last 12 years or the last 10 years that we've been broadcasting.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
She's pretty loyal. That's
very, very loyal.
Where's she based?
She's now in Philadelphia, right, or Pittsburgh. So she'll write down there. And Darren was one of my ex-slaves. Absolutely, you know, I don't know if you've seen this beautiful man walking around with dreads, you know, kind of had a great body on him, and beautiful man, inside and out.
Oh.
He's an awesome person. But and Spanky used to run the spanking group here at the Little Side and all over the place. He's known for his spanking group. So, do you switch?
I do. I do switch. Yeah.
What does it take? What does it take for you to want to sub or submit or surrender to someone in play? Do you only in play, or can you, or do you date doms?
No, I wouldn't say I date dom. I don't think I date switches.
Mm-hmm.
I've dated switches. I've never dated a pure, if you want to use that word, just a pure dom. I do switch. I switch in my personal life. It takes a lot now for me to sub to somebody, and I'm like, I get like insolent. I get whingy is the word. Like I just because I want to be beat, and so I'll egg somebody on, and if I don't think you're beating me hard enough,
you'll top from the bottom.
Oh yeah, I'm really love to top from the bottom.
So you'll say you hit like a girl, stop it, hit me like a man.
I'm just like, did it start yet? Are you starting? Is this all you got? You suck as a dom.
Oh my god.
I'm like, don't you know who you're trying to dom right now? Can't you bring it to the table?
Hey, Spanky, can you break this girl?
And because I want that, because I crave that, because I don't get that, and and I have, female friends who taught me, and I also switch in movies. I just did some videos for the Claire Fonda spanking websites, and that's different though when it's a job, it's job related, but I have been asked to, do a really heavy corporal scene with me as the bottom, and he suggested a few people, the producer, and I just shot them down. I'm like, no, like I won't let anybody do that to me. I gave a list of people who I trust, and there's very few, like Nikki Rouge, actually, you know her, like I trust her with my life. If someone wants, if she's allowed to beat me. There's a few people who are allowed to beat me, but I like if Nikki Nefarious ever wanted to tie me up, I'd be really happy to do that. But I'm definitely a switch. Are you? You say you're more dom?
Oh, I'm pure dom.
You're pure dom, yeah.
But I did allow my last submissive to top me, and he topped me from 6 o'clock in the evening till 4 in the morning. And now my claim to fame is this: I now know where submissives go. I now know subspace, and I know subdrop. Yeah. It's an amazing process when you're dominant and you're able to identify it and know what they go through. Mm-hmm. I hear people say, well, I don't let my submissive go into subspace. And I'm like, the fuck? It's the most fantastic thing to watch. Yeah. And also what you do afterwards when you nurture them and you take care of them and you cuddle with them, you hold them, and you make them feel safe in their aftercare. It's so important, and most people don't understand that.
And that's how you connect, and you get, that's that present. You're just very present, and you get, when you're in subspace, you're just kind of like high, and you just feel just so safe. Like, I don't know how to, like, you're glowing, and you're just, you're not thinking about anything else.
You're at your true self.
Yeah, you're just there's no chatter, really. And that's what mindfulness is aiming for, or like the meditation. You're aiming to get to that point where you're just there, and you just exist, and you're kind of floating, and you're not thinking about, you're not thinking about how do I look on this cross, or like you don't care.
You don't care. You're gone. You're gone. He gave me a beating, and I don't do pain. No way. I would never let anybody do to me what I allowed him to do. And he was new, and he wanted to learn. I says, okay, and you're gonna learn it the right way. Mm-hmm. And I offered myself up to him, and I don't think I'll ever do that again. It was pretty much of an interesting experience. So your meditations, what kind of meditations do you do?
I was practicing, it's called Vipassana meditation, which is a type of meditation where you just focus on your sensation. So you're just sitting still and focusing on what your body feels like, and all you do, it's very, very boring actually, but it's very useful because you just sit there and you just focus, and it clears out your mind. I wouldn't say I haven't been practicing lately. I'm more into active meditation, like yoga. I'm addicted to yoga. I love it, and it's very meditative because you're focusing on your breath as you move. And do you ever get the chance to do any yoga?
I try. I have really bad knees, so I try. I've just told her that I gained a lot of weight the last couple of years, and I've been trying to exercise again. I turn on disco music, and if we put a camera on, it would be probably pretty hysterical. Sometimes I do it without clothes on, and I'm flopping around the house, but yoga is very difficult on some of the positions that they have because of my knees and the joints.
Yeah.
But I notice that a lot of people that have been doing yoga their whole life, that are in their 80s and their 90s, how flexible they are. And one of the things that I find as I'm getting older is the ability to walk and not fall. It sounds crazy. It's because when you get older, you kind of start shuffling your feet. You hit every little crack and every little thing in the sidewalk, and you're sore all over. Your joints are sore if you don't keep moving. But I think yoga is a good way to keep your body limber and have that mindfulness. I mean, I've seen so many elderly people that are in their 80s and their 90s who look absolutely fabulous that are doing yoga. And I'm not saying I'm not going to try. I still try. So what I'm trying to do is to lose a few more pounds again, do some exercise, do some stretching, and work my way into it. So.
Well, we can talk about. I'm learning, so I would love to even just spend a little time, and I can show you some modifications. And I'm trying to develop a yoga for kinky people. I don't know. Did you see there's Tasia? She's teaching a naked yoga in Las Vegas. Did you see that? They're teaching naked yoga in Las Vegas, and I think she's teaching one this week on Thursday.
Oh wow!
At the Erotic Heritage Museum, and I was like, well, if she can teach naked yoga, I can teach kinky yoga, and so it would be genuine, real yoga. But I would explain what certain poses can do for you, and how you could be how it might make you a better dom or a better sub. And definitely, yoga, if you're limber, it's going to be more interesting to tie somebody up who's very limber compared to somebody who's all tight.
Yeah, but I think people that do yoga have better sex because they're limber. And they're able to stretch their bodies and do different things. Oh, we have more people in the chat room. We have John in the chat room. Hello, John.
Hi, John.
And Javier is in the chat room. Welcome. We have Piggy is in the chat room. Hello, Piggy.
Hi, Piggy.
So they're going oink oink. And it is. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can scroll back up on this. Little T said she was in. Hold on. Pittsburgh. She goes, boo, Philadelphia. So she was in Pittsburgh.
Be careful.
And Spanky says, yeah, he would like to give it a go to see if he could break you.
Oh, no. I don't know. I'm nervous.
So, and little Pig Carrie says, I'm doing okay.
Oh, Pig Carrie.
Life is still pretty crazy. Still in the process of grieving. My condolences to you, sweetheart. So, and my condolences to you. You had a very close friend of yours.
Yeah, Kim Valley.
Kim,
yeah. No, he passed away in January, and we hadn't really been talking, and I found out on Facebook, which is always a crappy way to find out about.
Because you were so close.
We were very close.
He adored this girl. He adored her.
He was on your show, right?
Yeah, he came. He didn't come to the studio because we did it I did it when I was at my daughter's house.
Oh, okay.
And he was on camera at his house, and all these freaky people. He was all makeup.
Yeah,
and Kim was being Kim, and it was, I'm glad that I got to interview him. I'm glad that I have that interview because there was people that I've lost in the community that I wasn't, like John from Passive Arts. Him and I just constantly wanted to interview. He wanted to come and interview with me. We never could find the time. Those are my regrets. My regrets is to interview people that are interesting, people that make a difference in this world. And I think that Kim did. He was so unique.
Yes, he was.
There was nobody like him in the world.
He was wacky. Yeah, he was interesting. And he and I had it was a very passionate, very crazy, lots of turmoil, and he was a mad genius. Definitely, he was from another world.
Yeah.
And we had a really interesting time together. Very close. We spent a lot of time together. A lot of time we traveled. And but he was crazy. Nobody will argue with me on that one. But so we weren't really talking. So when he passed away, it was really hard to hear that. And then some. there was a news story on TMZ about what he wanted to have done to his corpse. I don't know, did you hear this story?
No.
Okay, so, and it's all true, and TMZ called me and interviewed me to find out if it's true, and I said, I agreed to the interview. And so he had sent some emails to the editor of Girls and Corpses magazine, which is a magazine that shows, sexy girls.
I've interviewed them.
Okay,
yes.
Right, Robert. Yeah. Okay, and so Girls and Corpses magazine. So in case anyone doesn't know, it's like this kind of cheeky, kind of funny.
It's been
gruesome.
banned in certain countries.
Has it?
Yes, I think it's banned in England, and there's a couple other places. It has been banned.
It's pretty funny. I mean, it's pretty. It's like girls posing with corpses. They're not real corpses. They're dummies. But so Kim was a fan of this magazine and asked the editor, "Hey, when I die, I want you to take photos of my corpse, and I want you to have models on them, and I want you to have models doing like crazy things to my corpse, and like." And he was serious. Kim was serious.
Kim was serious.
Yeah, Kim was serious. And I have emails to prove it. And so so anyway, this word got out, and TMZ wanted to know the story, and I explained, yes, this is all true. And so I actually think like I wasn't invited to the funeral because they didn't want me to do this to the corpse because they were afraid I would conspire to actually make his dying wish come true.
But you were a very instrumental part in his life in a time when other people weren't, that didn't pay him any mind. But he would walk into a room and he got attention for his presence.
He had definitely a presence. He was very tall. He was about 6'5", 6'6", and just very, very thin and very striking looking. And
Little Tora says, I remember him, Rev Mel. She says, one of your most unique guests.
Yeah.
I had to get him on.
Yeah.
It was just something that, and he didn't have to leave his house. Mm-hmm. He had people that were there, and it was such an amazing show. And I think it was a 2-hour show because all he wanted to do was talk.
Yes.
He had he was up in front of the camera doing this and all over the place. And with Kim, all you have to do is be quiet. Mm-hmm. And then he met me at karaoke, and he couldn't stand anybody there. He goes, they're terrible. I don't know what I'm doing here. It was so funny. Mm-hmm. And then I got up and sang. He goes, you have a good voice. I have to leave. But he was, and that was the only time I met him was when he came into the studio with you. And he came in with at Hutsy's show. Remember you guys came to the studio at TSRnetwork?
Oh, did Kim come with me?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
And that's how I met him, was through you.
Okay.
And thank you for that. I mean, it was pretty amazing. I mean, it was just, and to find out that he was kinky, to find out he was into BDSM, he was into craziness and.
Was he kinky?
He was kinky. I think every bone in his body was. I think his mind was crazy.
I guess he was kinky. I actually taught him how to use. I taught him how to use a flogger, and he had polio as a child, so he had some problems like nerve damage, so he couldn't always handle. He didn't type, and writing was kind of weird for him. But I taught him how to use a leather strap. He loved using a leather strap.
Oh my God.
I taught him how to use a leather strap. And I remember that. And I taught him how to use a flogger. He was happier with the strap. But he didn't like doing the spanking because he had nerve damage in his hand. But I was like, hey, I'm going to teach you.
So, you were good for him. I know that he's passed, but you were really good to him. And you really cared.
Yeah, I really, really cared, and he drove me nuts. And he did everything he could to drive me nuts. And there got a point where I'm hoping maybe one day to write a book about it, but there got a point where I just had to be like, okay, Kim, because he was so obsessed with me. It was just, he was utterly obsessed. And so I was just like, all right. And he dedicated one of his books to me. Like if you read the dedication, he dedicated a book. And, but yeah, I mean, I'm sad that I didn't get invited to the funeral, but it is what it is. And I have a feeling like I can't now visit it. I just have this, I don't want to visit his grave. It's going to be too hard. Like he's buried in Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
One day one day you will. One day you will. Because you were really good for him. You need to know that.
Oh, thank you.
When he came to the studio, he was very, very happy. Very happy with you. And he talked very highly of you.
Oh,
nice. You meant a lot to him.
Oh, that's very nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, you did. And you accepted him for for everything that he was, and
Yeah.
you didn't expect anything from him, and that's what I noticed. That he was a very charming. I don't know if he was charming. He was.
Oh, he was charming. He was engaging. He was mesmerizing. He
Yeah.
was like. I mean, that's why he was who he was. I mean, he's Ken Valley. Yeah. When I love anybody, like any person, be it I loved Kim or like a submissive or a friend. Like I am super loyal. I am extremely loyal, and I will fight for that person and do whatever it takes to make sure that person's happy. But I also get really upset because I kind of expect. I probably unrealistically expect the same from that person. So when someone does something to me, I get really upset. Like I'm like a lion. I just like I want to protect everybody, but when if there's like a little thorn in my paw, I'm just like screaming about it.
Well, I think Ken loved drama,
Yeah.
and I don't think you're a drama person. I think you're very centered, and I think you walk into a place with dignity and you leave with dignity. I've watched you for a very long time.
Oh.
We've been to lots of parties with each other, and and I've been very impressed with your career. And do you? One of the questions I want to ask.
Yeah, please ask me.
Yeah, let's ask some questions. You want to be spanked? No, just joking. Do you think that 50 Shades of Grey has helped you in your career?
I would say for 50 Shades of Grey, it has helped me in my career in that I've gotten a lot more interviews, and
which is awesome,
which is great. And also more people are talking about it, and not. So I guess in my career, like as far as like making money though, I mean, I'm getting more interviews. Like I just did something with Playboy TV. I'm doing another thing with Playboy TV next week. Actually, gosh,
they're really reaching out to the BDSM community.
It's been amazing. I'm surprised.
Have you been on Dr. Lamore's show?
Yes, I was on her show. So I've just been getting more publicity, and it seems like people are being more respectable. But a few years ago, if I was asked to be on Playboy, it would have been just I was a freak show. Yeah. That was, and now it seems like they're actually curious and want to know, generally, what is this about? So I think it's helped my career, and it's also helped me in my personal life because people who normally people who are vanilla, who never have ever talked about, what do I do? They might just mention, oh, you're a dominatrix, but now they actually want to talk about it and hear about it and learn about my story. Like before, they didn't. I don't think they felt like they were comfortable saying that. But now that 50 Shades is out, and now they're seeing more interviews, I think.
Have you read the books?
I did. I read them. Oh, I listened to them on tape. Does that count?
Do you have them? Can I borrow them?
I have some. I have the 3, and I listened to it on my iTunes, and I felt obligated to read them. And
I stopped at 220 pages
it's really
on the first
bad.
book. Yeah,
it's really bad.
But I made a commitment to read the books. I'm supposed to be teaching another class in Ventura.
Oh, nice.
And I made a comment in my class. We were doing a class on authenticity and transparency in BDSM, and I mentioned how I could not read the book and and then when I confessed that I did not read all 3 of them, they said, you need to read all 3 of them before you can make a judgment.
Exactly.
And I'm like, oh my God, but 220 pages was like pulling teeth. But I look at it that, a lot of people are very upset about it in our community. I mean, you saw all the postings.
I've seen
blah, blah,
it,
blah, blah, blah. But I think that it has brought us more out into the public that I think we might have enjoyed being the taboo, but we're not as much of a taboo anymore. So we're more real to the mommy porn people and to people. So
and I say the same thing to people who who are judging the movie and judging the book, but they've never seen the movie or seen the book, and I'm like, how can you judge something you haven't seen or read? So that's one reason I got it on iTunes. So I knew I wouldn't be able to read it, but I knew if I threw it on when I was in traffic, I could listen to it. And I did see the movie. I went to the theater, and the movie, it's a movie. I was actually keeping tally of the BDSM, like how many times he struck her, and it was I think he only spanked her 6 times the whole movie with his hand, and like it was like I counted it. There was like 6 with a crop. There was a crop, there was a strap, there was his hand, and then the flogger. And it was every time he used one of those implements, it was fewer than 10 times he struck. who used it. And I'm like, really, for a BDSM movie? There's like no BDSM. But the movie, what it is. But it's been great because I think people are talking more about it.
Well,
People,
Javier,
yeah.
who's a male dominant in the chat room, called me after he saw 50 Shades of Grey, and he liked it.
Oh, nice.
He liked it. Well, he likes men that are dressy, and because they're involved with the Knights of the Lyre, brand new group, which is awesome. And Conquest is suit and tie only, which is awesome. There's no more leather. It's only suit and tie only. So you walk into there, and it's like walking into the 50 Shades of Grey movie.
Ooh.
I mean, it's real. I like men in suits. I've never been leather. I hate to say this. People probably go, "Oh, not gonna watch that." But I respect, and I think you have to earn your leather. I really do. I don't think I think you have to really be truly of leather. And I have Javier says that 50 Shades of Grey is a romance novel, not a how-to-do book.
Right.
And Spanky asked a question to get us off of the subject of 50 Shades of Grey.
Like enough of the 50 Shades.
Yeah. But, it has opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'm selling, by the way, the real 50shadesofgrey.com.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it's with the 50, because once they start going after people with the 50, they'll start yanking sites off right and left. Oh. But they can't do it with the 50.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, because basically, but and safe, sane, and consensual. I'm going to sell that. So and
you own that.
I own safe, sane, and consensual.
Nice.
And I own beyondkink.com.
Nice.
I own a lot. I'm selling all those because I'm just going to do TSR Network. So, Spanky, he wants to know understand everybody in the chat room. Please give us lots of questions. And we're getting down to the nitty. We've got about 15 more minutes, but I'm going to ask you if we can go longer.
So fast.
Would you have time to go longer if you decide to?
Like maybe 10, 15 minutes or so.
We can take it to about quarter after 9. Okay, Spanky. We have another question from Mark Miller, but let's do Spanky's first. How does your education play into how you live the lifestyle?
How does my education play into how I live the lifestyle? So I have the PhD. I think it's like you said when you saw my talk at Stockroom, and that was in February. I have a very analytical mind, and so I want to research. Like when I first started like 10 years ago, there was very little research about BDSM. And what I mean by research, like research in a peer-reviewed journal, like some kind of psychology journal or medical journal, but like a real journal where, experts submit their work, there's an editor, and then their peers, review it and say whether they think it's good, if the data's right, if the data is justified. And nobody was doing that, and now people are doing it. So with my education, I can go through the databases and research, and that's what I was citing during my talk. I wanted to prove, but I wanted to support these statements, like people who are in the BDSM are not depraved or not sick in the head. So that my education helps me with that. Also, my education just gives me some more authority, and so my clients, the people I play with, love that I'm educated. They're just like, I love educated women. I love a strong woman. I love knowing that you're a professor, because I've worked as a chemistry professor, and that falls into so many people's kink. But besides that, just I can think analytically. I can, if someone tries to say something about or anything, like some kind of lube, I can research what the lube's made out of and decide for myself if their claims are right. I mean, my education comes into play all the time. What else can I say? But I actually, if you want to talk more about my discovery of BDSM and how it's affected me in my life, when I was a submissive, I was a submissive when I started. I was raised by my parents got divorced, as I mentioned, and my father was never around. I didn't have any male father figures. My mom, my mom's family was in Iowa. That's why I lived in Iowa for a little bit. So my mom didn't have any family support. So I didn't have any men around me, and I was very scared of men. I didn't like to speak up to men. I didn't like to even talk to men. I was so uncomfortable with it. And when I was in grad school, when you're in science, there's a lot of men. And there's a lot of men with authority, with PhDs who are, the laboratory I was in, one of the, we had two sections of the lab. And one section was actually the section for a Nobel Prize winner. So I was around very strong, intelligent men who were motivated, and I was just so scared of them. I'm like, I can't talk to these people. And when I started working at the Dominion, the women were just so confident and just so comfortable being dominant. But there was like, not only, you meet some women who are dominatrix who are dominant, but they're not really comfortable with their dominance. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
There's like, they're kind of insecure with their dominance, and you
Yep.
can just kind of tell. But there were just women who were just so comfortable being in charge. And I was like, I want that. And they taught me how to be comfortable being a woman. And I don't feel like I didn't completely realize that until later. And I'm still like developing that confidence, and they would teach me like, well, if you feel intimidated by somebody while you're giving a talk and there's a bunch of men in the audience, just think of them naked going, yes, mistress, begging for a spanking. And I'm like, really? And like, yeah. And so I would actually do that. Like if I felt intimidated, I would just think about all the guys that are naked, like, slave position going, yes, mistress. And it worked.
And a lot of them probably like that.
They probably would. And so, working as a professional submissive, then to a switch, then to a dom, I think actually is what helped me finish school. It actually gave me the courage to, because getting a PhD in chemistry is really hard, just to put it mildly. And I had to jump through so many hoops and do so many talks and the paperwork, and being able to talk to men and like arguing ideas and justifying like why I wanted to do this particular project.
Well, in school, we don't play football. We don't play baseball with boys. We don't know that guys can sit and swear with each other on the field and then walk outside and go to a bar and have a drink and everything's forgotten. As women, we hold everything in. I was a willing victim when I came into the BDSM lifestyle. I was not really shy, but I didn't have a very good self-esteem of myself, and I was also, I became me. A stronger woman in the BDSM community, and because I built something, and I built myself up to where I needed to be, and the strength, and 20 years of being in the lifestyle is a long time.
It is.
It's a very long time.
So you found your strength in BDSM?
Yeah, I did. I think a lot
of people do.
A lot of women do.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of, I don't know if it's the same for male dominance. I can't. I don't know if they find their strength. I don't know if they come in with their strength. One of the things that Javier and I talk a lot about is the male dominant or the male father image that we need. And I had a very strong male father who was always there. He was always there for me. I was his favorite because I was blonde out of an Italian family, so I was absolutely his favorite.
Oh, wow.
They were all dark as Sicilian.
Oh, you're
looking.
Beautiful. So
thank you.
With you, the blonde hair.
Oh, I used to have blonde hair. I let it go gray. I'm thinking of going back blonde maybe in May for my birthday. I don't know. But we got more questions. We got more questions.
But it just turns into about the dom. Like, I would love, because I don't really hang out with a lot of dominant men because I work, in a dungeon run by women. And I wonder if like BDSM, I'm just asking the question of the people watching, if BDSM lets people be comfortable being dominant, like there's dominant people that are uncomfortable being dominant. I wonder if it allows them just to feel comfortable being dominant.
I like to look at it. Yeah. I look at things a little bit differently than most people do. I really think that in our DNA, which DNA, I think that there's certain things that we are that we do. There are certain personality traits, there's certain things, there's certain emotional traits, there's certain things that we have packed in our DNA. And I think that when we get into the lifestyle, there's a switch that is turned on. And that switch is so strong. And I think that the switch will either go to submissive or dominant. And there are some switches that stay right in the center, which is the switch. But I would love to know how other people think about the fact that we're preordained for this. That's why when I saw when one of the neighbors' kids, they had a bunch of kids in the neighborhood who were out in the woods in Michigan who tied kids to a tree, and I didn't see it, but all I did was fantasize about it. And I never wanted to be tied. I wanted to tie them, and I know that was a big trigger in me. And when I overcame the insecurity and overcame the shyness of who I thought I was, when as little girls,
Mhm.
sometimes you're teased and we're
Yeah.
victimized, and we're bullied, and all
Mhm.
sorts of things go on in our lives. I think when we become in our 30s, or 30s, we start to gain our strength,
Yes.
and as we get into 40s, and when you get into your 50s and your 60s, everything changes. I mean,
Mhm.
if you're a dynamic woman at this age that you are at, you will be able to move mountains at my age, at 60.
Wow,
I'm 62.
Wow.
I'll be 63 in May. So
Very well.
it's a whole process of what we go through.
Mhm.
I think it's in our DNA.
I think, yeah. I mean, babies have personalities. You hear
Mhm.
about the baby that there's like the chill baby, and then there's the fussy baby, and it's in our personalities. When you see the kids that there's. I mean, I definitely was the leader, but I never expected to be a dominatrix. But I was also very submissive, so that's why I'm the switch. But I'm a very dommy switch. So Spanky wants to spank me. I don't know.
Oh, he's good. You can go to Conquest one night.
Oh yeah.
But Conquest, I like Conquest, what they've
Mhm.
done with it. I think it's a lot better than what it used to be. I enjoy going, and I'm a female dominant, and I go there and I'm respected, which is great.
So it's a male dominant.
It's male dom with female submissive,
Hmm.
and which is nice. It's a great energy there.
Wow.
But we've got lots of stuff going on in this chat room.
That's
Okay,
amazing.
all right. Oh, and they're having a black tie. Javier says, don't forget the formal black tie banquet. And it's all on the Knights of the Lair. They've changed, which is fabulous. Okay. We had one more question I wanted to get to. Art Miller said.
Oh wait, we were to show my feet. I can't. We don't see any more.
You're still live.
We're still live. Okay, but I just wanted to show my feet.
I can tell you.
Can you
Yeah, I can tell you.
I'm wearing stocking.
There's feet right in the center.
All right, people. My feet.
For people that have foot fetishes.
No, there's like fur on my feet. Though I did a shoot yesterday in this place, and they have a lot of fur, a lot of animal fur everywhere. And I have 2 feet.
2 feet.
I haven't named my feet though. I don't have names for my feet. My friend Nikki Rouge has names for her feet.
Oh my God, I love Nikki. Tommy in the UK is in the chat room. Hi Tommy, welcome back.
Tommy.
See, we hit everybody from all over the place. So, all right. So the people who like feet, I'm not going to show you my feet. I got boots on. Boots on.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Art Miller says, I love the insight on confidence. The same is what I'm looking for as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Art Miller asks, what do you expect BDSM accept? Where do you expect BDSM acceptance within the vanilla content in 5 years? That's a good question.
That's a good question. Where are we going to be in 5 years from now? I think kinky people are where gay people were.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, 10 years ago. I'm not a historian.
Who are the last people to come out?
Yeah, but who else is there? Is there anybody else?
There's Polly. There's Polly.
Polly.
There's Polly. The trans have come out, which is wonderful. Transgender. Gays come out. There's Polly.
What is there now at this point?
BDSM.
It's just BDSM?
Yeah, I think BDSM, and that's why we started BDSM Pride Day.
Oh, nice.
It's our day of coming out and supporting. It's on the 24th of July.
Oh.
And we want people to have parties all over the place, their own parties, and just enjoy it.
Yeah, so I think in 5 years from now it's still gonna be taboo. We're gonna still be a subculture, but I think we're not gonna be shunned like we were. Like I have a feeling like years ago people wouldn't even invite me to dinner because they didn't want like you to be associated with them.
Oh yeah.
And I just came out to, I mean, I'm pretty out, but I'm taking these yoga classes with a bunch of, these young yoga people. And I brought up as a dominatrix, and this girl's like, oh, okay, well, your secret's safe for me. Your secret's safe with me. Like I never said like, keep this a secret. But it was just still like, it's still considered like if I told you, hey, I have a dog, you wouldn't say, oh, your secret's safe with me. So she, in her mind, she's already judging. Yeah. So, and if somebody told, if nowadays if someone said, hey, I'm gay, no one's going to be like, oh,
yeah.
No, and now people are like, okay, you're gay. At least in Los Angeles. The climate's probably different in other parts of the world. But I think in 5 years from now, if you say you're kinky, people are just like, okay, you're kinky.
I think that we're a little more accepted. I don't think I don't know if we'll be totally accepted because people don't understand safe, sane, and consensual. How can we be sane when we put bruises on people and do blood play and do all the things that we do? So how sane can we be? But we are sane. But in 5 years, I have my theory. My theory is this: the story of O didn't change us. Exit to Eden didn't change us. And then I discovered a new movie that was made in 1996. I think in 1996 that I never saw before until last weekend.
What's that?
Called Bitter Moon.
Bitter Moon.
On Netflix. It's not really a really well-made movie, but there are some hot BDSM scenes. There's one of him wearing a pig's face, and she's in there dressed as a dominatrix, hitting him. There's one where she pees on him, golden showers. I mean, I started watching this, and it's called Bitter Moon. It's on Netflix. Yes,
because it's turning me on.
And he is so sadistic, and it's what's his name, Cody. I forgot his name, and I never expected him to be in a movie like this. And I when I first started watching, I go, oh, the acting's really bad. The script isn't really well. And the more I saw of the deceit and the BDSM acts, I don't even know why people don't even talk about this movie.
It's English, right? It's in English. Okay, I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's called Bitter Moon.
Do you know another movie that really turned me on was Whiplash? Did you see the movie Whiplash about the drummer and the very sadistic drum teacher? I'm sure some.
I gotta see it.
It has nothing to do with BDSM, but it's about this man who's just very sadistic, this music teacher and this the best music school in New York. And he's just such a dick and so sadistic and so powerful, and it has nothing to do. But it was like, oh, that's what I want in a dom. Just someone who could just like the emotions that were coming up, like oh my god, he's such a jerk. I like that.
Well, 9.5 Weeks was like that. He was. Everybody hated him, and because she was so pretty, and he abused her, and she wanted more and more. But we see this in our community. I mean, let's face it. We do have a lot of unhealthy people in our community. And I say that all the time. It's called sane for a reason. You've got to come into this community knowing yourself. If you don't know yourself, and if you don't know what your limits are, I mean, you could really hurt yourself.
Yeah, you'll just be a punching bag. And and a lot of submissives are really strong people. Like if you're a submissive who is practicing, safe, sane, consensual, or RAC, risk aware, consensual kink, you're actually a very strong person. I think submissives can become stronger by being submissive and learning how to, because it's your responsibility to say mercy. We can't read your mind. It's your responsibility to take care of your body. It's your responsibility to eat before you come play. And I think a lot of submissives become stronger people because they're thinking about how they will affect somebody else. So if you didn't pay your rent and you're going to be in a lot of trouble, it's going to affect your sir or affect your mistress, because then you're not going to be able to take care of your mistress's needs or your sir's needs if your life's in turmoil. So I think a submissive becomes more responsible through service.
Well, it's like Guy Baldwin. Guy Baldwin. That's what Guy Baldwin wrote in his book. I will hurt you, but I'll never harm you. And I think that you're a mistress that does not harm people. That it's very important to have that concept. We may give you pain, but we're not going to do anything that is going to damage your mind, body, or soul. I think it's so important. I'm looking. I'm not ignoring her. This thing. Every time.
While you're doing that, I'm going to show off my perfume. A perfume.
Oh,
actually, I've developed this perfume. I don't know if you can see.
I can take it.
It's called Domina. There's a commercial on YouTube. If you look up Domina fragrance, you'll find it. I have over 500,000 views on YouTube. And it started off just somebody said, nobody has a fragrance who's a dominatrix. And I'm like, okay, then let's change that. And so I have this box, and it's a roll-on. And this is for you. This is my gift to you. If I can open it. My hands have lotion on them. But here we go. And I'm working on developing more. I want to develop a yes, sir, a male version. You don't have to put it on, but you just smell it. And I want to develop this. It's very floral. It's kind of light. This is I wanted to develop something kind of.
Oh, I love the packaging.
Thank you.
Oh, it's very floral.
Yeah, I wanted to start kind of conservative, and now I feel like, because I didn't know if people would respond to this, and people love it. I've had girls buy it.
I love it.
And I didn't know if people respond to it. Now they're like, oh my God,
Mine.
It's all yours. You can put it in your purse. I love the roll-on. And now people are responding. They're like, we really like this. And I want to get a Yes Sir fragrance. I want to get one called Leather Daddy. I want to have one for submissive.
Well, have you seen the ones with the bolt in it? The screw?
Bolt?
And a screw?
Uh-uh.
I've got one. I'll show it to you
Okay,
before
I'll
you
just see
leave.
it.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Smells really good. I love the smell of it.
I used to wear it all the time, and now everybody else is wearing it. So now I'm kind of like letting everybody else wear it right now. So now I have to develop a new one.
I love it. It's
Thank you.
beautiful smell.
Thank you.
And what is something like this run?
It's $20.
Not bad.
If you do want to purchase it right now, I'm doing, if you email me, snow@snowmercy.com, snow@snowmercy.com, I can hook you up. And I have a webpage. They're developing it right now, and I have photos. Tommy O, the photographer.
Yeah.
Tommy O, he just took a bunch of product photos for this. So it's getting there. I'm excited.
I love it. I love it.
Because I just felt
I'll put it someplace safe.
Yeah, because I feel like there's only so much I can do with sessions and appearances and videos. So I'm like, I need something more to.
You're smart.
Offer.
You're thinking of your future, and it's very important to.
Trying.
It's very important to take and use your mind in developing something that's going to benefit you in the future and that's going to support you in the future.
That's what I'm trying. And also I find like the friends who aren't doms, who aren't in the lifestyle, it's like this is kind of like their ticket, or their ticket into the lifestyle. Like they're not ready to start wearing the dom gear or start going to parties, but if they wear this, they actually secretly kind of feel like they're a dom. And
I love it.
Yeah, I think I didn't think of it that way, but some of these girls who are like, oh my God, I love this. They're like, I'm wearing Snow Mercy. So they feel like they have a little bit of Snow Mercy, like that little, that edge.
I think you're going to hear more about Snow Mercy, which, is that your real name?
It's the name I use. I want to say my parents gave me Snow Mercy. It's the name.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Art Miller said in the movie it was Grant and Peter Coyote.
Oh, nice.
That was in that movie. I'm trying, because they're typing so much that every time I go up, it moves up, and I can't get the. Little T, what's your favorite person here? No, that's just she's asking who's the favorite person there. They're back to. John says, I love sucking those. I would love to suck those toes. I love sucking those toes. Maybe he has sucked those toes.
Oh my God, I love foot fetishes. Speaking of your DNA, like in the chemistry, like I think we give off pheromones. I know we give off pheromones. We just don't understand them. Like people haven't really researched it. It's really hard to research fragrances and scents.
Mm-hmm.
Like how do you capture? It's really hard to capture that. And so people haven't done much research. They're working on it. But when I was 18, I attracted kinky people. Like it came to me. Like I dated somebody who was a crossdresser. I had never met a crossdresser in my life, and he came out to me. He was a crossdresser, and then after that, I dated somebody who had a foot fetish, heavy foot fetish, trampoline fetish. He was into giantess, and I remember he one time asked me, he's like, "Oh, I have this friend who thinks it's really great to be vomited on," and I was like, "Oh, that's horrible." But I was like 18 or 19, and I realize now, going back, he was actually asking for himself to see how I'd respond. Because I did my first golden shower with him. And naturally, I think he was also into vomiting, like the Roman showers. And so I've attracted these people, and they've just always kind of...
It's in your DNA, it's in your sense.
And I would just, a lot of girls would have been running for the hills. Like, you want me to do what? You want me to, like, stand on your chest and say that I'm going to squash you? But I was like, okay, let's try this.
I think that it's preordained.
Yeah, I think, and I don't, and people judge us like, oh, why would you want to hurt somebody? Why would you want to make someone bleed? Excuse me, do people go to boxing matches?
That's right.
You go to boxing matches, they're not like tickling each other. They're punching the crap out of each other. Or people go to watch football.
Yep.
That's pretty violent.
Yep.
Or hockey.
Yep.
That's pretty violent. So, and they're like...
Soccer is even more violent.
And it's encouraged. People get, the audience gets
It's
excited.
like the Romans. Kill them.
Yeah.
Thumbs down. It's, it's been since history.
Yeah.
People have been doing this. I told you, it's in our DNA.
Yeah.
Everything. I believe in reincarnation.
Oh, nice.
I have this whole thing about reincarnation. We're not going to go into it right now. I believe in it. But people have... Tommy wanted to say, Tommy said, who is this pretty girl? So, Tommy...
This is Rev Mel, people.
No, you. You go, who's the nice... No, he says, who's the nice-looking lady? He goes, 2 feet. Also, a bonus. Nice hair. Does she have a photo?
Snowmercy.com. Snowmercy.com. And you can look at me on Facebook, The Snow Mercy, Twitter, Snow Mercy. I'm on Instagram, Snow Mercy. There's a lot of videos, spanking videos. I have a few foot fetish videos those are harder to find. I need to do more of those. A lot of spanking videos.
See, she is all over the place. She's very well known in the Los Angeles community and all over the world. And so people know her, which is really... Is she wearing tights or stockings? She's wearing stockings.
I can tease them. Let's see, they're full pantyhose. So
Tommy,
they're not thigh highs.
Tommy, are you getting hard?
I got these stockings. I wore them yesterday to the shoot. So they're probably, if you're into stinkiness, they're probably getting stinky.
John has sucked on your toes at DomCon or at the Dominion. At the Dominion, he sucked on your toes.
Where have you been?
Come and suck on her toes.
I'm at the Dominion on Thursdays, so I'm not going to be there this weekend. Now I'm going to be in Las Vegas, raising hell, as I do.
You'll see Nikki when you're there.
I hope so. She's so hard to pin down. She travels so much, so I need to reach out to her. And I'm doing, speaking of Nikki, we had this clown party. Did you hear about the clown party we did?
No.
We were at the AVN, convention, and they have their convention in the Hard Rock. Have you been to that?
Yep, the Hard
Rock. And so this lovely mistress, Maya Simstress, she's in Chicago, and she's like, we're going to have a clown party. And Ken and Sunny were there too. And so she hosted a clown party, which got moved into my room. And there were just clowns. There was like people shooting ping pong balls out of Nikki Rouge was shooting ping pong balls out of her vagina.
Oh my God, yeah, Nikki.
Yeah.
Love her.
Oh my God. Nikki's amazing. Mistress Bella was there. There were a bunch of people there. And so word got out, and now I'm doing a Playboy TV shoot on Monday. We're going to do a clown party. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, I was on the phone earlier today, and I already did a food play segment for them last week.
Food play.
Yeah, and it's Playboy, and Playboy is very, very tame. Like, because I had like all these ideas. I'm like, we're gonna splash. I'm gonna have girls, inside these kiddie pools with like pudding, and they're like, whoa, this is Playboy. I wanted like pies in the face, and they're like, we have to like make it Playboy friendly. So it was very, romantic, and there was a hetero couple, and we're like putting whipped cream and licking it off nipples and stuff. But that was but I'm like, I love cake sitting. You ever done cake sitting? Like someone sits in cake and you can eat it off their ass, or like I'm into really heavy food play. So
wow.
Squashing things, making people eat it off my my foot. We didn't get to do that, but we're gonna do clowns.
Well,
yeah.
These are websites for you to do and develop.
I know.
And it takes a lot. And as you know, it takes a lot to do what you do. I mean, it takes. I mean, you're always working. Mm-hmm. Social media is very important for all of us. I mean, I know that you must spend a tremendous amount of time on social media. I mean, because you got to broadcast and you got to let people know what you're doing.
I'm not as active as I used to be. I've been trying to spend more time for my personal life, because it eats up a lot of time. And also I was finding it was starting to like make me, it was kind of, I was feeling a little overwhelmed at times. Like people knew so much about me. So I used to Twitter and Facebook everything I did. Like if I had breakfast, you'd found out. But now I'm much more, I'm not as active, because more people were watching me and more people were like.
Did you ever have a stalker?
I've had stalkers. I've had clients who like, I've had clients complain about photos with me and other men. Like, I don't like to post pictures of me with other men anymore because my clients or my fans get really upset when they see me with another man.
Wow.
And I had one person complain about a picture with me and another man because they get jealous. And so it was just like, it was starting to get a little crazy. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to kind of back up a little bit because, when everybody knows my business, it's like, I kind of need something private for myself.
Yeah.
But I'm still out there. I still advertise. And talking about web pages, I bought cakesitting.com like probably 5 years ago, and I was having dinner with a producer who has his own website, and he was telling me it costs about $20,000 to start a pay site because you have to get all the footage, you have to pay the models, and he says it costs about $20,000. That's a lot of money, and I'm like, I don't
Venus
know.
DeMilo put a lot of money into her website.
Yeah,
A lot of money into her photo shoots.
yeah.
But you can do it. I started bubblewrap.com.
Bubblewrap.com.
Yeah, I had some porn stars that were popping bubble, and then they had sex. It was fun,
Oh,
and there was so much fun.
Oh,
I bought
God.
big things of bubble wrap, and we shot it, and
That sounds fun.
so it was a lot of fun. So you can do. You know what? You don't have to do it slow.
Mm-hmm.
Create. Do it slowly. You can.
Mm-hmm.
WordPress is easy to do, and WordPress
Yeah.
can become a paid site.
Yeah.
So all you gotta do is just get yourself the domain name, build the WordPress site on it. You can have it done.
Yeah, I had a meeting today with the people who are doing the website for this, for
Mhm.
the pay site. So, and I do have a snowmercy.com, which is WordPress. It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it does.
It takes a lot of time. So
It takes a tremendous
Yeah.
amount. And what was that?
It's one of your fans trying to get in.
Oh no.
There's so many fans. Oh. Or I ordered to-go food. I ordered takeout. I'm kidding. It's a pizza. It's like a porn, like all of a sudden some guy like, some tank top and tan and brings a pizza and ooh, what's this?
They're talking in there. I don't know what they're talking about. I want to ask you, because we're going to be closing up in
Okay.
a couple minutes. So I want to ask you, you've been in the lifestyle how long now?
I would say, how do you consider being in life? Like being practicing kink or like actively hanging out with
Actively.
people, with other people
Yeah.
who are kinky? I would say about 12 years.
What changes have you seen
In myself or in
in the community?
The community. Oh boy, what changes have I seen? I've seen it easier to find people that are kinky. When I started, there wasn't even FetLife.
Yeah.
So I think FetLife came out in 2007. It's gotten much easier to find people. I think people are playing safer because people know more about, I think people are more accountable because people can talk about each other online.
I think they're tearing the wall down behind us. I think that's what they're doing. And it is soundproof. And if we can hear it, we know they're being really loud. And they don't notice that we're recording. So I need to knock on the door, but I can't because it's all soundproof.
Oh, there's that. So, but yeah, I think those are like, it's easier to find for sure. It's much easier because there was no FetLife.
Yeah.
There was no YouTube.
No, all we had was we had Alt and we had Collar Space.
Oh my God, I forgot about Alt.
I don't even go on that anymore.
I haven't looked at Alt in forever.
No.
I remember there used to be Tribe.net.
Yes.
And I think that's where Fetish Tribe maybe.
Yeah.
Because there used to be Tribe and
MySpace, then Tribe, and then Collar Me.
I remember Alt and then Collar Me, but Collar Me, I guess
it's Collar Space now.
Yeah. So, but it's become easier to find people, and it's also easier to look up people and make sure they're not crazy.
Oh yeah. No, I think I don't look at FetLife as a pickup dating site. I look at it as an information site.
Mm-hmm.
I think Collar Space is still, if you want to meet a submissive, half of them are flaked and they flake out, but some of them aren't. Some of them are pretty neat people.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to go. But it's information, and information is what keeps us safe. And it says Snow Mercy on the side. Make sure that you guys go to her website and get this.
Yeah. I would love it if people wanted to get it. It's a great gift, and it's small, and you can put it in your purse. And I purposely made it so it's not overtly BDSM, so that a soccer mom can put this in her purse and not be called out. I wanted to make it kind of undercover.
Well, now when they read the 50 Shades of Grey, everyone's seeing that. They should have book covers for that. So, any regrets?
Any regrets within BDSM? I've made mistakes with submissives. I've had some submissives, and I've definitely made some mistakes, and I pushed them too hard, and I became too dom. And I've been drunk on dom disease.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of this term? I've
Micromanage.
yeah, I've been drunk on dom
Mm-hmm.
disease, and definitely, it's affected relationships and it's hurt things. I also regrets. Oh, other than that, nothing too big, but I definitely regret getting a little too much in my head about the power, and I've made mistakes. I'm learning, and I think submissives and doms expect mistakes to be made, please, and expect your dom's gonna fuck up.
Yep.
Your sub's gonna fuck up. It's not the end of the world. Like, work together, get through it. And regrets, yeah. That's my biggest regret.
Are you open to personal relationships with a submissive?
Yeah, I've had personal relationships with submissives.
What do you look for in someone?
I really smarts. If you really want someone who's intelligent, I am not too concerned about looks or age, but enthusiasm, very intelligent, and someone who can take the initiative. I'm so busy, as you've seen. I need someone who's not super needy and doesn't need to know, ask me permission for, can I have breakfast now, mistress? Like, I'm so busy. Like, here, figure it out.
You don't want to micromanage somebody.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I don't. And someone who's just very happy, every once in a while, getting some attention. And somebody who understands the rules and that, you're a submissive, you're not my boyfriend. Because I've had a submissive did not register, even though we sat down and I talked. You are my submissive. Yes, you're in my personal space. Yes, you're going to be around me a lot. That does not mean we're dating. And he thought that meant we're dating. So
yeah, they get attached.
Have you had that?
They get attached.
They get really attached. Oh yes.
And dominance, we have to say, we get attached too.
Oh yeah.
We can't. We're human, so we get attached also. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Smarts is very important. You have to be able to think on your feet. Yeah. You have to be able to, if I tell you to do something once, you have to really comprehend that and understand that.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
But there are some people who, I've heard stories from other mistresses where they had a slave or submissive who says, they give them a grocery list, and then like the person's calling and texting the whole time at the grocery store going, oh, what size of the, and I think it's part of that whole scene. They want to get the attention. Yeah. And that's great for some people. I just don't have time for that.
No, when they've done that, I go, send me a photograph.
Yeah.
Don't ask me. Just send me a photograph. Is this what I want? Yes. No, that's not the size. No, that's not what I want. I mean, think on, think.
Yes, think for yourself.
Because when you're a bright person like you are, and you're smart and you're analytical, and you can take and look at things, and everything fits in a certain place. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people don't comprehend that. A lot of people don't understand. I've had some really interesting experiences with submissives who were not that bright. I've had submissives that were very smart. Mm-hmm. I've had so many different types of submissives that were extraordinary, men and women, extraordinary. Darren, who's in the chat room, is an extraordinary man, extraordinary. He is a wonderful submissive, one of the best I've ever seen, which is fabulous.
Oh, wow.
But let's see. I'm asking a question. I've had a question and I forgot it inside of my head, you guys. What is it? You guys know me well. So what's on the agenda for you? You've got your perfume and you've got the Playboy coming out.
I got the perfume, the Playboy. I'm gonna be, if I do everything right, I'm gonna be certified to be a yoga instructor in April.
Wonderful.
So I'm hoping to do something with that. I would love to do some kind of like kinky yoga and express myself that way. And then I've been meaning for years to write a book of some sort. I'm thinking the book of spanking, because that just seems to be what I really enjoy, and it seems to be what draws people to me. And I've also got DomCon coming up. I'm going to be so far I'm going to be teaching history of the dominatrix, because I don't think anyone's ever really taught a class like that. And
And it's been on forever in history.
Yeah, so I got that book, The History of the Dominatrix. So I'm going to use that
Yeah.
as my primary reference and just talk about it. Do you really? I mean, I can't tell you, like, where does this come from?
I think Cleopatra was a dominatrix.
Yeah.
I really firmly believe she was.
Cleopatra was a dom. So I'm going to talk about that. So I think I'm very drawn to education and I love to talk and I love to talk in front of groups of people. And I had so much fun doing that stockroom thing.
You were great.
And people really responded and they're like, we need this. So,
and you had so much, because I've been teaching S&M Open for, I've been teaching it for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
You covered a tremendous amount of information in 3 hours?
It was a little less than 3 hours.
Yeah, and you covered the bases, which was great.
Yeah.
I mean, my classes are broken up into 6 different classes. They're an hour class, so it's a 6-hour class. You did amazing. I was very impressed.
Thank you.
Very, very impressed. And I was telling my friends that was with me, Caddy and David. I said, she's great. This is great. And we know each other, but we haven't really sat down and had full-on one-on-one conversations with each other. Most of the times that we've met each other was with the girls, at parties, at dungeons, at TSR Network when we had the studio. I was upstairs in the rafters running the show. So we never really got down to sit and talk. I really never got to really know her well. But from her class, what I learned from that was that she's a very bright, smart, elegant, well-spoken woman that really has a tremendous amount of integrity. And I approached her that day and I says, will you be on my show? I mean, I've been wanting to have you on my show for a very long time.
Thank you. This is a pleasure. And I should have you over for dinner sometime.
Yeah.
You're actually not too far from me.
It's convenient. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything else in the chat room. Tommy says, I'm a publisher in UK. You can contact me.
Nice.
Write her on FetLife, Tommy. They're saying that she is. You are on FetLife?
I'm on FetLife. I check my snow at snowmercy.com. Email much more. That's much more reliable. Sorry.
She's also on Facebook.
I'm trying to use my words. I'm also on Facebook. Yeah, FetLife. I don't know. Just Facebook is just kind of where I'm slowly becoming an Instagram person because it seems like that's where now people are going.
Oh, that's where the traffic comes from.
Instagram.
You put photographs up on Instagram.
People love Instagram.
I mean, they're all over the place. I mean, Tumblr now. I'm really surprised. I'm getting so many people on Tumblr and Pinterest. Pinterest is pretty amazing. FetLife, Facebook. I mean, you got to do the social media if you're in business.
Yes, definitely.
It's very important, and you got to find.
Domina. It's called Domina.
Well, I think it's really important that you get a publicist, hire them for a month, get a major star to wear it, and let them wear it, and then you can use that as advertising.
You're smart.
No, I am smart. Take a few extra some money and put it through there. Yeah. But I want to thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Will you come on again?
I would love to. Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to have her on. And as you guys know, that I don't have a board guy, so I'm got to run up, and she's going to end my show. But what I'm going to say to you guys, I want to thank you all for watching the Rev Mel Show on TSR Network, where we are changing the world one vanilla at a time. So you guys are going to see my butt going, and she's going to say goodbye.
Hi, goodbye.
I love you guys. My dress is sticking. So it's hot in here.
And be sure to visit me at snowmercy.com. It was lovely seeing everybody here. And tune in next week. I'm sure there's another very lovely. Who's next week?
Malibu Mom.
Malibu Mom is next week, so you don't want to miss Malibu Mom. No.
Newbie.
She's a newbie into BDSM?
Yes. Oh, that was the question I wanted to ask you.
She's back.
Oh, my God. Sorry, you guys.
Now people are like, already.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So what advice do you have for someone? And what I'll do is I'll take off when I say it. What advice do you have for someone that is a newbie that's coming into the lifestyle?
Oh, okay. Yeah. If you're a newbie coming into lifestyle, I highly recommend going to as many workshops and classes as you can, read as many books, and go to as many, go to kinkacademy.com and kinkuniversity.com. They have a lot of great videos, instructional videos that will teach you about BDSM. And before you start just hooking up with any partner, start to get to know the person, have coffee with the person, And, and you're allowed to turn people down. It's like dating. Consider it like dating. So you don't have to go all the way. If you don't have to have a scene necessarily with everybody you meet. And start getting mentors and get multiple mentors so you can kind of see their different styles. So that's what I would suggest for somebody new. All right, see you later.
Bye.
Bye.